this tutorial we're going to be learning how to crochet the beautiful Flowerbud stitch. This is an intermediate level stitch, but I've broken this tutorial down step by step so ambitious beginners can follow along if they want to. So let's get started. Start by making a slip knot using your preferred method and then make a starting chain that is a multiple of 8 plus 2. For the purposes of this tutorial, I'm going to go for 26. I'll meet you at the end of the chain and I'll show you what we do for row 1. To start row 1, work a single crochet in the second chain from the hook. That first chain that we skip does not count as a stitch. Next, work 2 chains, 1, 2, then work a single crochet back into that same chain, so in there. So into that stitch I've now worked a single crochet, 2 chains and a single crochet. So next we're going to skip the next 3 chains, 1, 2, 3, and into the chain after that we're going to make one of these stitches that looks a little bit like a flower bud, and these are made up of a stitch called extended puff stitches. I'm going to take you through how to make them step by step, and if you have made puff stitches before, these might be a little bit differently to the ones that you've learnt before. So I'll take you through that step by step. So we're going to skip 3, 1, 2, 3, and into this chain here we're going to work an extended puff stitch. So let's work that together. Yarn over, put your hook into that chain, yarn over, pull up a loop, and then pull on this loop until it's about the height of a half double crochet or 2 chains, and the actual height of this will depend on what size yarn and hook you're using, but for me it's about that high there. Then yarn over, put your hook back into the same chain, yarn over and pull up a loop to that same height. So I'm going to keep pulling on my hook until that loop is the same height as the previous loop we made. We're going to repeat that again one more time. So yarn over, put the hook back into the same chain, yarn over, pull up a loop and keep pulling until that loop is the same height as the others. So you should now have 7 loops on your hook. For an extended puff stitch, yarn over and pull through the first 6 loops. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I'm skipping this final loop here, just like that. And then yarn over one more times and pull through those 2 loops on your hook. So that's our extended puff stitch done. Next, chain 1 and work another extended puff stitch back into that same chain. So I'll work it through with you again. Yarn over, put your hook into the chain, yarn over, pull up a loop and keep pulling to that same height, yarn over, put your hook into the chain, yarn over, pull up a loop and keep pulling to that same height again, yarn over, put your hook into the chain, yarn over, pull up a loop to that same height again, yarn over and pull through 6 loops, yarn over and pull through 2 loops. So we've now made 2 extended puff stitches and 1 chain. So we're going to make 1 more chain and 1 more extended puff stitch into that same chain again. So chain 1, then another extended puff stitch, yarn over, put your hook into that chain, yarn over, pull up a loop to that same height again, that's about the height of a half double crochet, yarn over, put your hook into the stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, put your hook into the stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop to that same height, yarn over, pull through 6, yarn over, pull through 2. So as you can see here, we've made 3 puff stitches with a chain 1 between them, all into the same chain. And this group here with the extended puff chain, extended puff chain, extended puff, I call this a flower bud group. So to continue on with the row, we're going to skip 3 chains. So skip, 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 into the next chain, work a single crochet, chain 2, single crochet back into that same chain. So then we're going to repeat those steps all the way along the chain. So we're going to skip 3, work a flower bud group, skip 3 and work that single crochet, chain 2, single crochet group into the next chain and repeat it all the way along. I will stay with you for one more of those stitch repeats so we've got it in our head for those that need help with the puff stitches, but if not, feel free to skip ahead to the end of row 1 and I'll meet you there. So let's work one of those flower bud groups together again. So yarn over, skip 3, so skip, 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 and we're going to make a flower bud group into this chain. So an extended puff stitch. So yarn over, pull up a loop and keep pulling till it's about the height of a half double crochet. Yarn over, put your hook into the same chain. Yarn over, pull up a loop to that same height. Yarn over, put your hook into the chain. Yarn over, pull up a loop to that same height. Yarn over, pull through 6. Yarn over, pull through 2. Chain 1 and make another extended puff into the same chain. Yarn over, put your hook into the stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop and keep pulling to that same height again, about the height of a half double crochet. Yarn over, put your hook back into the chain, pull up a loop to the same height. Yarn over, put your hook back into the same chain, yarn over, pull up a loop to that same height until we've got 7 loops on our hook. Yarn over, pull through 6, yarn over, pull through 2. Chain 1 and then one last extended puff into the same chain. Yarn over, put your hook into the stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, keep pulling until it's the height of a half double crochet. Yarn over, put your hook into the stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, pull on it until it's that same height. Yarn over, put your hook into the stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, pull it up to the same height again. Yarn over, pull through 6, yarn over, pull through 2. And that's that flower bud group finished. So next, skip 3 chains, so 1, 2, 3, and into the next chain work a single crochet, chain 2, single crochet back into that same chain, and repeat that all the way along until the end of the chain. In your final chain you should make that single crochet, chain 2, single crochet group, and I'll meet you there and I'll show you what's different for row 2. So that is row 1 finished, and that was kind of our setup row. This is a 2-row repeat, so we're going to be repeating rows 2 and row 3 over and over again for the remainder of this stitch. So let's learn row 2. Start row 2 with a chain of 3. This does not count as a stitch. Then turn your work over. We're now going to work a half flower bud into this chain 2 space here that we made on the previous row. So we're going to be skipping this first single crochet and working into that chain 2 space. And to make a half flower bud, we're only going to make 1 extended puff stitch, 1 chain, 1 extended puff stitch, so 2 puff stitches total. So I'm going to make my first puff stitch. Sorry, that was an extended puff stitch there, not a normal puff stitch, an extended puff stitch. Then chain 1, and then another extended puff stitch back into that same chain 1 space. So that is our half flower bud because there's only 2 of those puff stitches rather than 3. And we're going to start and end row 2 with just 2 flower buds instead of 3. So next we're going to skip 3 stitches. So we're going to skip the single crochet, skip the first puff of our flower bud from the previous row, skip the next chain 1 space, and into this second extended puff stitch we're going to make a single crochet, chain 2, single crochet group. So I'm going to work that group all into the top of that stitch, so single crochet, chain 2, then single crochet back into the same stitch. Next skip 3 again, so skip, 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 and into the next chain 2 space there, work a flower bud, so that extended puff stitch, chain 1, extended puff stitch, chain 1, extended puff stitch, and I'll meet you at the end of this flower bud stitch, as we should have worked this quite a few times now, so hopefully you've got the hang of it. So there's my flowerbud stitch made into that chain 2 space. I've got my extended puff, chain 1, extended puff, chain 1, extended puff there. And we're going to repeat these steps along. So skip 3, work single crochet, chain 2, single crochet into the top of that central puff of the flowerbud stitch of the row below. Skip 3 and then work a flowerbud into that chain 2 space. And then continue along working this row until the only space you've got left to work is the final chain 2 space at the end of the row, and I'll meet you here. So I'm almost at the end of the row and I've just worked a single crochet, chain 2, single crochet into my final flowerbud of the row below, and skip 3 and then into this final chain 2 space we're going to work a half flowerbud. So 1 puff stitch, chain 1 and then an extended puff stitch. So I'm only working 2 puffs into this final chain 2 space. So there's my first puff, chain 1 and then a second puff. So if we have a look at the end of this row, you can see we start and finished with a half flowerbud, and that just keeps our edges straight. So let's move on to row 3. So row 3 is very similar to row 1. Let's work it together. Start with a chain of 1, that does not count as a stitch, then turn your work over. Into this first puff stitch, work a single crochet, chain 2, and then a single crochet back into that same stitch there. Then skip 3, 1, 2, 3, and into the next chain 2 space, work a flowerbud stitch. So there's my extended puff, chain 1, extended puff, chain 1, extended puff, all into that chain 2 space. Then I'm going to skip 3 and work a single crochet, chain 2, single crochet into the top of this puff. So it's very similar to row 2 at this point forwards. So repeat these steps all the way along your row until you reach the end of the row, and then I'll show you what we do at the end of the row, so I'll meet you there. So I've just done my last flowerbud, and the next time I skip 3, 1, 2, 3, my final stitch should be this puff stitch here. Remember from the beginning of row 2, this chain 3 here is not our last stitch, it does not count as a stitch, it was just our turn-in chain. So into the top of the puff stitch there, work a single crochet, chain 2, single crochet, just like we did at the beginning of the row. So there. So this is what your crochet should look like at the end of row 3, and from this point forward you just need to repeat rows 2 and 3 over and over and over again until you end up with the size of crochet that you want it to be. I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial, and if you'd like to learn some more crochet stitches, I'll pop a playlist of loads of tutorials here, and please do give this video a thumbs up if you found it helpful. I'll see you again next week.